Jiu Jitsu nerds, joining us today is Davis Asare, the leading scorer of PGF Season 6, who's going to be making his return to PGF 7. And since that Professional Grappling Federation series, you've been super active. You've been on Polaris and, of course, training with New Wave. But how has it been since PGF Season 6?
It's been nice. Obviously, when I did the PGF, I was already known that I would not do ADCC, so my mind was already kind of shifted for the next year when it comes to competition and trying to stay active. So yeah, right after PGF, I've just been active, trying to do as much as I can to prepare for the next big competitions coming up. So, and PGF was definitely one of the ones that I was thinking about. So yeah.
Yeah, and you were a big reason why Team X Marshall walked away with a 100K team grand prize. When you look back at the performances that you've had with PGF, which one stands out to you as one of your favorites or one that you're most proud of?
Um, like definitely when it comes to not like specific matches, if I just overall the being the number one scorer, I think was pretty fun. I thought that was like a cool thing to have like on my experience list when it comes to PGF. So when I come to the next time, I think people would think more of me as a threat. But maybe the match I was thinking the most, or I was most happy about, was definitely probably submitting Daniel Sattler was pretty cool.
Heel hook attempt. Sadler very good at countering this. Oh, this is bad. Oh my God, I can't believe he survived that, but he's not out of the woods yet. Inside heel hook, he's gonna pull him in and turn it. Ooh, oh my gosh, how did Sadler slip the knee line twice on those deep grips by Asare? A lot of that was just grit.
Yeah.
He's willing to eat it a little bit. Oh, Asare just staying on the leg entanglements, believes he.
Oh, there's the tap.
Under a minute. 4-pointer.
4-point in the break. Hopefully Sattler's okay as he's slow to get back to his feet. Definitely don't want to see an injury.
Because he was one of the most threatening guys on the opposite team who was collecting a lot of points. So I felt like that kind of made a statement, which was kind of fun. Yeah, for sure. I think that one would be the one that I sticked out the most.
Yeah, and I think that was later in the week when there was already some drama that happened and you survived the group chat.
Survived. It's more like dodging the group chat. To be honest, I'm not trying to be all that, like all of them are pretty cool to be honest. I think some of them who were already had some tense behind them had something prior to PGF, which kind of like escalated from there. But I'm cool with everyone. I know a couple of the other people in the new season, so we'll see how that goes. But I think most of them would be pretty friendly.
Yeah, you're definitely calm, cool, and collected. When speaking to like PJ Barch about it, he's like, "Yeah, I think some of those guys are in their early 20s. I'm 30. I'm too
Yeah.
old for this stuff, but you're only 22." So, is it just the way you were kind of brought up that kind of gives you the personality that you have? Like, what did your parents do for a living? What was it like growing up in Norway?
I guess like it's like I think I have a pretty different like upbringing than most of the people in PGF. Like obviously I'm not even from the States. I'm like have a multicultural background. My parents are from Ghana and I have a lot of different friends from different places. Like I don't know. It's just a mixture of everything probably, but I don't feel like I'm a guy who like don't get along with people. I'm always trying to find ways to like get along, find some similarities and like I feel like I can find a way to always like have something nice to go with some people, Like I always find something to relate to them and make it easier to like talk and socialize. So I feel like it's gonna take a lot to make me mad about something.
Yeah, I definitely feel like being well traveled and experiencing different
Yeah.
cultures makes it really makes you able to be a chameleon or fit into certain areas that
Mhm.
maybe you're not as comfortable in. I know that you went back to Europe to fix your visa, and then you were
Mhm.
called a little bit on short notice for a Polaris 29 card. Probably the funniest post fight interview they had with you lying on the floor there. So wait, what? Because you have such a great physicality, but what was it about taking that on
Ugh.
short notice and you weren't as well in shape?
So the thing is, I was in a decent shape prior to that, to be honest, because I went back to Norway and I didn't have a passport because I had to give out my passport to the embassy and then they're gonna stamp like my visa and everything. But within Europe, like if you have a Norwegian, if you have like a national ID, you can travel within like certain countries without the passport. So I was like, let me just do a ADCC Open in Romania, like just to keep myself active. So I wasn't in shape, but I was definitely like in shape enough to do that, and I was like certain that I'm gonna win it. So I did that. I won, and after Romania, I was chilling in Romania. I had some friends there. Like I don't know, I think maybe I went a little bit overboard, went on a vendor, and then when I got the when I got the message that they wanted me to do the Polaris. Like I felt like because last time I wasn't able to compete, and I really love Polaris. Like when I started Jiu Jitsu, like Polaris has always been one of those promotions that I really looked up to because it's based in Europe, and at the same time, Polaris has always been one of my favorite promotions because first of all, it's based in Europe, which is super cool that it has the wide spread that it does from Europe. Like it's known to be one of the biggest international competitions just in general, and it had a lot of people from Norway, like Tommy and Espen, when I was coming up competing there, and then I was always like, so I feel like it's always been like a super important promotion for me to get on. So when they reached out, like short notice, like, "Oh, you want to do this?" I was like, "Yes." I don't think my body wants to do this, but I'm definitely gonna still do it. And it was against Felipe Andrew, who is also like a very decorated, like well-known grappler. So obviously this wouldn't be an easy task, but like even though I didn't feel good and everything, I was like, I'm pretty sure I got like good 5 solid minutes in me where I can actually fuck him up, like catch something. And I was like, let me just do it. So I did it. Obviously, Felipe Andrew couldn't do it, so I fought George instead. And 5 minutes, I was just beating him up. And then after that, he was beating me. I was just dead. My body literally, like, I'm not even kidding. After I had his back for like 2 minutes, and then my body just shut down. I could not move my body. Everything just like I was completely conscious, but I felt like okay, if he gets out of this, I'm fucked. There's no way I'm gonna survive this. So while he was able to get out, I was like thinking to myself, all right, just when he gets out, just do one thing, the only thing you can't actually physically do, and that is just not tap. So I just made that mind of not tapping, and then I got the win. It worked. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of
there
just
were
not
definitely
prepared.
some crazy moments that we really got to see your grit and survivability in that
Yeah.
final scramble and exchange. I know that he came up even on shorter notice because, like you
Hmm.
mentioned, Felipe Andro couldn't do it. Were you a little bit bummed that Felipe ended up not being able to be your
Yeah.
competitor because he was more of like someone with a more higher accolades and also
100%.
like what is your opinion, like would you have wanted to compete against him because in other tournaments and stuff
Hmm.
steroids is allowed, so that's kind of just
Of
part of the sport.
course, I would love to fight him. The thing is, first of all, I feel like that chance would be harder to get again because obviously he's weighs more than me, but I don't care about that because this is again PGF at 205. Like I train with the best, biggest guys in the world. Like I train with Luke, I train with Gordon, Giancarlo, all these guys on the regular. So like I know my ability against bigger people. Honestly, sometimes I feel way more confident against bigger people. So I feel like that match in particular would be kind of hard to set up intentional because like Felipe Andrew doesn't even do no gi in usual like except when he did CGI and our weight class is different and so that was like a once in a life like once every blue moon like I feel like that would be cool to actually do but I guess like Polaris, they're good. They know they have their rules, and it's cool that they stuck to them because the statement of like not having people who's actively banned from other organizations was something they put out a while ago, and it doesn't like people don't understand when it comes to like promotion that when stuff like that happens, that's super like everyone wants the match to still get going, like even though that's the rules that they made, it's like super inconvenient. So I feel like that was definitely like a bummer, but it's okay, I guess. you know?
Yeah, it was still an entertaining match against George, and I'm sure they're going to have you back soon for another Polaris event. I was looking at some of your teammates' interviews. Giancarlo Bodani is saying such high things about the way Danaher kind of programs what he wants you guys to work on, and how Giancarlo feels like what people are working on now is what we were working on 6 months ago. So
Hmm.
can you kind of elaborate on kind of having John Danaher, and does it feel almost like you have a cheat code because he's always watching film and always doing kind of the legwork for you guys, and you just implement it on the mats, and obviously have to put in your hard work too, but
Hmm.
he really does a deep dive into things?
Yeah, so it's definitely true what Giancarlo talked about when it comes to like the team just in general be kind of in the forefront of any like meta. And I feel like that comes into not only like John's experience, like people forget like John's been doing jiu-jitsu since like before I was born, you know. It's actually insane to think, but he's actually like done jiu-jitsu for a very long time. And not only that, but the confidence of having such like in-depth knowledge over time. Like John looks at videos obviously to take in information that he can apply and start to teach us, but like he has so much like inner knowledge from the get-go where he can start being playful with like experimenting stuff. He doesn't need to look at other stuff for reference because he can himself become the reference. So I feel like when you have that as like a toolbox where you can start like pick and choose and start to like experiment for yourself because you have the knowledge. You don't need to look at other people because people, when you look at people, you start to have the habit of like trying to like emulate, try to do something similar. And even though you're trying to look for inspiration, it kind of just becomes like a bad copycat version, right? You want to look for inspiration and look for stuff that can kind of help you find your new style. Like you're gonna eventually, like naturally, just trying to copy too much of what you're looking at, and it'll just be like a bad copy of it, right? So if you think more like for yourself, it's easier to then eventually start to find something that no one else have done before. And I feel like John has been very like adamant on like after ADCC, he immediately starts to play with stuff he wants to play with. He doesn't look at what happened at ADCC. Obviously, we have to address something that is kind of making a big wave in the competition scene, so we don't feel like we're getting left out. But he's already on his own stuff. He's already on his own stuff, and it's already making his best students work on it, and he's already like looking at the ways to improve it. So I feel like that's one of the reasons why we as a team kind of are never like behind when it comes to techniques, and kind of in front of it or kind of leading the way when it comes to it.
So tell me about the moment that you met Big Dan. I can't remember where it was that you met, and then he offered or suggested that you move out to Texas. Because, like, what
Yeah.
would your jujitsu career be right now if that moment or that exchange didn't
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah. Super funny. It was actually first time I met him was the first time I was in Romania. So when I was in Romania right now was my second time. So the first time again, I wanted to like broaden my competition experience. I was like, let me just travel within Europe, and there was the ADCC Open Romania. And like people forget like ADCC Opens was fairly new in America, but like they've been going on for a while, like just in Europe in general. Like I've done Poland ADCC Open, Romania, like they have in the Czech Republic. They always had like ADCC Opens around. So I did those, and I met Dan in one of them in the Romania, and I fought him actually in the open class. I fought him in the open class, and he submitted me, obviously. But we got to know each other after that, and we talked a little bit. And then I met him again when he won his first European trials in Poland. I did fairly well. I think I got to the quarterfinals, and basically after he won, he told me like, "Hey, if you ever want to come down to the states and train, like you can come and train with us." And I was like, "Oh, that's sick." So basically, when he said that, I think he said it in the kind of a friendly gesture, but I took it very serious and ended up just changing my whole life, just planning and everything. And I ended up just going down and and the way I did it was through a student visa. So I basically just applied to a community college in Austin, and I'm fortunate to have the Norwegian government helping me when it comes to like studying abroad. I'm fortunate to have the Norwegian government helping when it comes to studying abroad because they provide like money for accommodation and tuition fees and stuff. So I kind of just took advantage of that system to then study. I just had to complete all of my full 12 credits while like training 2 times a day and trying to compete as much as possible. And then I did that, and then I was able to finish the first year, but then the second year I started to become really like getting really deep into jiu-jitsu and compete a lot. And I got to a point where I was eligible for the sports visa, and then my sponsor Gate CD5 and Martin Lopez, he fucked it, he got through, clutched in, and was able to fix me my visa. So now I'm finally I have my athlete visa and able to just stay full time in the states and train and compete and everything. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love that for you. I can see all the support online from Gate City 5. So it just takes that one
Yes.
person to really get behind you and believe
Hmm.
in your potential, which I know a lot of people believe in your potential. John Danaher has a quote that I'm curious for you to respond to. He said, "If Davis continues at this rate at which he's going and his mental game can catch up to his physical game, he will be someone everyone will know in the jiu-jitsu world. He has a ton of potential, supreme physicality with sharp intellectual gifts. He's grown so quickly physically that the physical progression has outstripped his own self-assessment. He still thinks he's the same guy he was 2 years ago, and one day he's going to realize how good he is." So this was 7 months ago that he said it. Have you
Yeah.
had any changes in your self-perception in the last 7 months?
I like to think so, but for some reason, like I know that I've kind of been lacking when it comes to like the mentality of competing because like I didn't start jiu-jitsu when I was a kid. I don't have that competition experience as many other people have. But like the thought of like having to improve it has kind of been like in a way where it's been detrimental in a way where I knew that I have to fix this part, and it's kind of been like contrary going against myself, like trying to I have to like just like having all of these thoughts like going against each other. So but since he said that quote, he's I definitely you can like I rarely lose, honestly. Like we're let's gonna be real. Like I've been competing a ton, a lot. I have a lot of matches, and I feel like um my competition mindset and everything is just rapidly improving because of that. And the reason he says that when it comes to like my own mental assessment hasn't been correct, it's because like I even myself know like how I've been performing in the gym against the best in the world. Wait, against the best in the world, and like I've people have come visited, people very well known, good people have come visited. I've been feeling great, done very good. So there's no reason for me to not think that I know that I can be one of the greatest, if not the best guy in 77, really. So I feel like it's a true statement to say, and I feel confident that if I just keep this momentum going, you'll definitely see some improvements. Yeah.
And the PGF rankings, not the official ones, were announced, but Egghead dropped his rankings. We have top 5 ahead of you, but you're ranked as number 6 with your own teammate, Sebastian Attard, ranked one above you. So do you get a lot of good rounds with him? And are you guys like preparing for PGF rule set?
So me and Sebastian, we don't actually train with each other. He trains at Hensel Gracie Austin, and while I also train there in the mornings when I do the gi, but most of my no gi session is at Roka. Honestly, like I don't want to dispute the rankings because like I have experience from the last PGF, and I'm pretty sure like the best team is the team that is the most well-rounded. It's the team that has used their money the smartest when it comes to like budgeting evenly. Because like I was ranked, I think the fifth or maybe the same, the sixth last time, and I ended up being on the literally the winning team. So it's like, and our team were definitely the underdogs in the beginning. Like on paper, we looked as the worst team, but because we were so well rounded, where everyone did their part, and then obviously I was able to collect a ton of points as well. Was like it was kind of perfect, you know. So I feel like if you are ranked top 3, you kind of cursing yourself because most likely the teams or the team leader are gonna blow a lot of money on the first guys, and then they're gonna end up being short on money for the weaklings, as you would say, right? So, um, I really like my ranking. I really hope that ranking stands for the other or for the official one. And Sebastian being above me, like from the outside eye, I don't see the problem with that. That makes sense because you have to remember, like right now, I weigh less than I did when I did 175 at PGF. Like I'm walking around like at 175. Like I had to cut for 175 last time, so I'm way smaller, but I am better, which is kind of cool, and I feel very confident. So, no, I'm super excited.
And why are you much smaller now? Is that like intentional? You just feel better
Yeah.
walking around at a lighter weight?
Um, Not only that, I'm usually smaller when I'm in shape, when I train consistently and like just in shape in general. I don't put like I don't when I don't train that much, I start to retain a lot of water. So it's a good sign that I'm smaller. But not only that, it's kind of intentional as well because I'm also doing EBI welterweight in December. So I have to kind of be
Nice.
around that weight to make that not as brutal as I'm used to doing it. So I'm that's definitely is definitely intentional. So, but I don't mind being smaller. As mentioned, like I'm training with the best people in the world when it comes to that weight class, and I'm doing that in my weight class right now, and I feel great. So I'm excited.
And I know before you usually compete between like 180, 185. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm. Yeah.
Is that the division that you're most interested in?
No. So, or I guess like I feel like I'm pretty versatile. I'm most likely I will compete between 170 and 185 within the next months and so so. Um, those are uh, the one weight classes that I really prefer to compete in. So 170 and 185 between that is a sweet spot, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure the different divisions bring different strategies and game plans. When we look at PGF season 6, you were the highest scorer. You won the regular season with the team X Marshall. Then you went in to the playoffs. You were the number one guy with the most points. And then PJ Barge ends up replacing Ben Eddy, and he is your first
Yeah.
round match. And so that was crazy because you had a match with PJ before, you know his game, and he got the better of you in the first one. And then in this one, you had a nasty toe hold. I thought he was going to tap to that,
I
and he
thought as
didn't.
well. I thought as well. I don't know why he chose to not tap, but it was very annoying to be honest. But whatever.
Was there anything from those PGF matches that you immediately went back and worked on?
Yes. So actually, because John was there for my first match against PJ, and that he saw that match and he was like, "You were literally doing like I took him down. I was able to get some. I entered into his legs every time. I was the one entering into his legs, and I was the one who entered into 50-50. But he was the one who heel hooked me eventually. And he told me that you did very well, but at the end you were kind of hesitant when you caught your heel. So we went like, through a ton of like defenses and everything because it was kind of, but at the same time it was kind of like a mental thing because I kind of tapped early on because I wasn't sure what to do yet in that position and everything. But the second time, which is funny, is that he caught me in the same thing. But I think it's the combination of me hitting two back-to-back tolls on him where I felt super confident I was able to break him, and his foot cracked and everything. I was so sure that it was going to tap. And people know how competent PJ is in 50-50. Like I think he caught three other people at PGF the same competition, and he submitted Elijah Dorsey in a kind of similar modified version of it. You can tell that that's something he's very good at. So I think after I did the toe hold, and he just overcommitted to go reach for my heel while I'm trying to rip his foot, I was kind of I was kind of shocked in a way where I'm like, okay, I'm literally bending his foot, like twisting it nastily, and he's just still trying to dig for my heel. So when he caught my heel, and obviously this was dead to right, so I just had to tap. So props to him, but it kind of sucks to lose to PJ. He's super good. Obviously, in my opinion, I thought he beat Mika, which shows the pedigree of how good he is. But it kind of sucks to lose to him twice with the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah, and you brought up ADCC. Is ADCC 2026 going to be a big goal for you in your
Yeah,
career?
100%, 100%. Like, it kind of like I didn't think I was gonna get in when I initially got second at trials, which sucked, but because I wasn't able to do the first trial, so I only had one trial for that ADCC. But the fact that everyone moved to CGI, which was super cool, because then we had two very good, cool promotion or competitions going on at the same time. A lot of cool matches to watch, but that made room for a lot of other people coming up to do ADCC, which a lot of them actually got kind of breakthrough performances, which were like cool because they weren't even supposed to be there. And I was bummed out that that was supposed like kind of to be me as well because I got second at European trials. I was able to beat two ADCC veterans at the trials as well, and but unfortunately we already had two people in 77, Gary and Oliver, so I wasn't able to do it. So I'm definitely for this next one very hungry to get back, and I'm very confident I will be able to punch my ticket in some way.
So when you say you weren't able to do it, is it because it's kind of like an internal team thing where you don't want to have too many people from the same team competing, or was it like an invite from ADCC?
Yeah, so the thing is, at that point, like, and Mo is the one who's choosing who's going to get into ADCC. Like he has these criteria he's trying to follow, but at the same time, he's the one with the final saying. And because I didn't win the trials, uh, what he wants to do is to avoid as much as possible a lot of teammates in the same division. So people were mentioning to him like in comments and stuff like, "Wow, why isn't Davis doing it?" Because like in '88, in the last one, Josh, Ty, and Barbosa was in the same division. Is mainly because all of them were like certain to be in it. So Ty was already he placed at the last one, and Josh also he's like an ADCC veteran and everything, and Barbosa also placed. I think so my in my position, like I got second at trials, but there's a lot of people he could have chosen before me. And because he already had two new wave people in 77, because he wanted to prioritize Gary, because obviously Gary's Gary, super exciting, well known and a fan favorite. It would be kind of difficult to prioritize me as well to have three people in from the same team instead of picking like a Max Hansen, who's also very good, or Jeremy Skinner, you know?
Interesting. I did not know the background of that. I know there's been
Yeah.
recent news with, Mo leaving ADCC. What
Yeah.
was your initial reaction to that news?
I was very surprised and obviously bummed out about it because Mo, like, he's obviously grown when it comes to ADCC, made it a spectacular show from 2017. And then when he did the 2019, the gap from 2017 to 2019 was big in itself. But 2019 to 2022 was it was incredible, right? Like you can see, it was Thomas and Mac. It was amazing. I was a spectator for that one, and I can for sure say that was like one of the coolest experiences when it comes to just entertaining in general, which was very fun. So I was bummed out because I would assume that the next one would be even more spectacular because he's always trying to like elevate them. So that kind of sucked, but he's done his work. He's cemented himself in ADCC in that way, with having that much influence and having so much helping the sport grow in that way, which is kind of cool. So if he chooses to not do it anymore, it's completely okay, I think, because he's done a lot as well already. So no, props to him for sure, and I hope he like enjoys his retirement.
Yeah, he definitely will take a lot of stress off of his plate. But I
Mhm.
definitely think the competition, I guess, for the biggest weekend in grappling made history all across the boards and really
Yeah.
uh, made a statement on how much athletes can make with the right investments. So I'm curious with the ADCC versus CJI weekend. Um, there was no new wave people on the CJI roster. I remember I posted a video in the lead up and people were still, this is when people were still guessing on who's going to be invited. And someone commented that Giancarlo might be doing it. And then I never saw the live chat myself. And he's like, he said he was on a live chat and he said he might consider it for the money. But was it one of those things where it's kind of like, no, you guys were sticking as a new wave team with the prestige of ADCC? Or did you guys kind of have the option, if you were invited, to do CJI?
The thing is, I haven't talked to the other people when it comes to I couldn't speak for my teammates when it comes to that because I wasn't sure like but if I would guess for other people or my teammates, like you have to remember that ADCC is something that we prioritize like year round. That's something that a lot of like John Colley is a two-time ADCC world champion now. He literally put his and that's not something you get by like half-assing it. He's put his whole year has been focusing on that one. Um, you can see performance when it comes to super fight or anything go up and down, but that's kind of like just a small speck of like this whole run to ADCC, right? Because that's the one we're kind of. So I feel like if I would try to guess the mindset of my teammates, it would be because of that. Like we always set our mind to ADCC. That's something we want to compete at, win, and it's prestigious and everything. I think that's one of the reasons why they would stick to ADCC. If they got a CGI invite, or if they even got one or have already gotten one, and they would do it, I would not be certain or sure why they wouldn't do it or why they would not would do it. Or why they would do it, I obviously would know because it's $1 million fucking. But there's no reason for them to. I like if I would guess the reason why they wouldn't do it is because of that. Me personal, like I would have competed in minus 80, most likely the most stacked bracket ever. So not getting an invite because it was already full with a lot of people is not that like crazy. If they would have given me an invite now, I would definitely do it. Like what? $1 million are we fucking trying to play, you know?
Yeah, definitely an amazing opportunity and right in the momentum of that big 20K share of the 100K from PGF as well. I know people were kind of playing, I guess, matchmaker or like in a theoretical world, the craziest way CJI could have been happening is if Gordon had gone into the over 80 kilogram division and then won the money, and then it would have been like, oh, that is like the craziest
So, yeah.
story that could have happened.
I
So
think that would be the coolest one. Yeah.
I've seen Gordon in your corner at the ADCC Costa Mesa Opens, and he's obviously spoken such great words about you. And I know he gets a lot of hate online, but he seems like if he is your teammate and he's on your side, he seems like a really good person to work with and learn from.
Not only on my side or my team, and just in general. I feel like obviously the way like I can see how people think he's polarizing online, but it's because he just says whatever the fuck he wants. Like he doesn't have a filter, which is honestly very refreshing sometimes. Like people underestimate the power of just having a person you like know just talks whatever he has on his mind. Because I'd rather have that than having a deviant person who you kind of constantly have to like guess what they're talking or thinking, you know? And like Gordon, everyone who talks about Gordon when they met him, like 90%, like everyone I've talked to when they talk about Gordon in public, they always say this. Like, I can see how he can be polarizing online, but in person, he's always super nice. And there's a reason for that because he is literally a genuinely nice guy. Like, he's a nice guy. There's nothing. Um, I don't see how I don't see how a person who's gotten along with him and interacted with him would like say otherwise. But obviously, if your whole interpretation is what someone does from a social media standpoint, like I can see how like people like hate him, I guess. But I think it's kind of a harsh word to say against someone you don't really haven't like talked to, you know.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. And you kind of came to the team after the DDS split. Like you weren't with them
Mhm,
until they were fully new wave.
mhm. Yeah, basically. I got there. I think I got there like after they had been in Austin for a year, basically. So they were starting to reestablish their team again and starting to get a new team. John Call was already there. Nicholas was already there, and Luke, and all these guys. So there was already starting to become like a fully fledged like new team again. So yeah, I got there after that. So everything that happened beforehand when it comes to the other team and stuff, like I've heard a lot of the B team guys like talk really badly about Gordon and all those guys, but in my opinion, like I really don't resonate to anything what they say. But I can't speak for what they have experienced, but I can personally speak for what I've experienced. And there's a reason why I'm still on the team. There's a reason why I still am uh, I call those people my friends and everything. And then it's because that I really like appreciate their help and appreciate all they've done for me. And not only that, like I really like settled and started to call Austin my home as well. So yeah, I that's what I would say about that. So
I love that for you. And I can definitely imagine after the split and all the drama and like having a new slate that the energy and the camaraderie amongst the team is probably so good. And that, like, I know Gordon went on the Jake Shields podcast and he's like, except all the B team guys, because they completely backstabbed me and screwed me over. Like, I can see from his perspective, there is still that like genuine dislike for each other.
yeah.
And that's what the stuff that you see online and all that. But I feel like since you came in after that and you are not part of the drama that happened, like it doesn't taint the room.
I think so too. I got there when it was kind of cleared out, like peeked out my head. So everything was kind of chill. I don't know. I feel like I'm chilling. That's all I'm saying.
I like that for you. At the end of the day, y'all are there to train and do jujitsu, and you're doing exactly that and opening up another opportunity to make some big money for PGF season 7 right around the corner. So just if there's anything that you want to say about the upcoming performance that you're going to be having at PGF season 7 or any sponsors, teammates that you've been working with, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so basically, like we already like covered most of the things, but I just want to emphasize that like there's a reason why I'm able or willing to do this 205 thing, even though I'm probably going to be like 30, 40 pounds way less than people, is actually because I'm actually going to go in there and still be the one who scores the most points. Like that's really my goal. I'm going to keep the momentum going, and I'm really excited to try to put on a statement this time. So yeah. I'm looking forward for it.